Gibson SG, got one of these recently. The reason I got a Gibson SG, love a Les Paul, obviously because they're the greatest guitar in existence. And I thought, well, I can't really justify buying another Les Paul because it won't do anything different, really. I mean, it's going to have humbuckers, could have a different set of humbuckers, which may sound a little bit different, but not really. Could get a P91, but I've already got a P91. So I thought, well, maybe I'll get an SG and see if I get on with that. I did try an SG years and years ago, maybe 10, 15 years ago, didn't like it, but I did play one a couple of years ago at a gig on my mate's one, and I really liked her SG. So I bought this. This is a 2012 Gibson SG Standard, came with a hard case. I absolutely love this thing, it is wonderful. What did make me laugh, I hadn't noticed this any other time I played an SG, but I watched a couple of reviews before buying one, and I'd heard they're thin. It's about 33mm thick, which is ridiculously thin. Like the jack, that must be almost touching the back plate, because that is, I've never known a guitar. I thought it'd be thicker than that, like 44mm, not like a Les Paul, but you know, thicker than this. This is ridiculous, but it makes it really nice to play. These silly carves, they're not like your gut cut and your arm contour on a Strat, but it works just as well, and because the bridge is always higher on a Les Paul, you're kind of at that angle anyway, so it's really a Les Paul on a Gibson. It's just a really nice angle to play. The neck feels wonderful. One thing you may notice is there's two different types of machine heads on this. So it came with the Clusen ones, and I bought a set of Grovers because I just prefer the look and feel of them. I was halfway through it and I thought, I'm going to do a video on that because someone may not know how to change machine heads, it may help them. So currently I've got half Grovers, half Clusen. I don't really like the look or feel of Clusen tuners, I'm sorry if you like them, I just don't. One thing I am going to say about SGs, sometimes they neck dive. However, I'm going to do a video on how to solve that because I have a Chapman ML3 Pro Modern, which is a bit neck divey. It's not because anything's ultra heavy neck end, I think this is pretty standard, although these Grovers probably aren't going to help it. It's just the body's so light. I mean, this weighs about as much as a roll of toilet paper. A couple of things I have found to do. I play standing up, so playing sitting down is a bit weird for me, to be honest. But for videos I play sitting down, it's just easy to get the cameras. It's not even interesting why am I talking about this. But to stop a guitar neck diving, I'll do a full video on this. Get a suede strap, it's just more grippy on your shoulder, so it stops it. If I whack this on, why not? I'll give you an example. So it sits there. Job done. The neck dive isn't really extreme, so that does actually solve it. However, this is me being picky. I can feel that the guitar's pulling this way. It's not. It doesn't drop when I play, but I can feel this pulling here, and there's like nothing here, and that bothers me a bit. The other thing I'm going to do is put a 3mm steel cavity cover over this, which will give it more weight this end, because you want it to balance, so you need more weight effectively. It's not like I can take something off that end unless I cut the head off, and then it won't work really. So I've heard about people putting weights on like the strap. I don't want that. It's going to be banging against the guitar, it's going to look ugly, whereas a steel cavity plate won't look too bad. I've got it on my, did that on my Chapman, worked a treat, so I'll probably make a few of them and sell them just to make other people's lives easier. It feels wonderful, absolutely amazing. There's nothing wrong with it. It's a bit beaten up. I personally like that. I can't express how good I think this is. I was quite excited about it. It's one of the few guitars I bought recently that I've been genuinely excited about receiving. But normally when that happens, it arrives and it's disappointing. This wasn't, not at all. This was fantastic, and I got it at quite a good price as well. I will do a separate video on comparing how the SG sounds to how a Les Paul sounds, because people will be interested in that. Now, I don't believe in tone wood, not a real thing, so leave a comment if you disagree. I mean, if you do disagree, you're wrong. I built the Tone Master 3000 to prove how much tone wood actually adds to the tone of a guitar. It doesn't. So check the video out on that, but I'm going to further that video with some more exciting experiments to show you what could affect the tone, and we'll go into that. Sustain, I do believe in sustain. That's a different thing. That's how long it resonates for and vibrates. But I think it's a subtractive thing. So, and this is a weird tangent. So what the guitar's resting on is obviously going to reduce the vibrations because people are squidgy. So it's naturally going to stop a bit of that vibration. So I wonder if playing standing and sitting affects that differently. Anyway, I will do a video on the differences between how a Les Paul and an SG sound. My Les Paul and SG both have the same pickups. They're the 490 R&T. I can't quite remember the numbers. It's a 490 and then a letter, and it's the same on my Les Paul. And I think the reason for the sound difference between an SG and a Les Paul is nothing to do with the lack of a maple cap and tone wood effectively, but I think it's to do with the pickups being in a different place. So if you put these together, the neck pickup on a Les Paul is closer to the headstock, whereas on an SG the pickup is closer to the bridge. This is the neck pickup, so it's further back. And you know full well that if you go between this tiny distance between these two pickups, if they were identical and the same distance from the strings, the sound here is very different to the sound here. So the fact this pickup is further back makes it a bit more bitey, because it has a lot more treble near the bridge, which is something I saw on Dylan Talks Tone, his channel. Check his channel out, and he did some measurements, and that was his theory. I completely agree with that theory, and I've got a video happening. I'm just waiting for the bits to arrive to prove that theory, because I'm certain it's that. I'm not going to play anything through a drive channel, because I think every video I've watched of an SG is someone playing through a drive channel, so I'm going to play clean, because a lot of the stuff I play is clean. 2 tones, 2 volumes, 3-way switch, nice and simple, nice trapezoid inlays, bound neck. It's binding over the frets I'm sort of indifferent about, but I do think having the frets to the edge of the fretboard surely is better, because not that anyone bends a string that close to the edge of the fretboard, but it's surely more likely to get worn out. But I don't know, aesthetically I couldn't care less. But from a guitar making perspective, from a luthier standpoint, I just think it'd be easier and more sensible to have the frets to the edge of the neck and sort of the frets over the binding. But who cares? Leave a comment if you do care. Leave a comment if you know why it'd be better one way or the other. Personally, couldn't care less. This is the Gibson SG neck pickup, the 490 pickup. Everything is on full. I'm going through an orange Rocker 15 Terra 2x12 cabinet that I made. It's made up from Meranti hardwood, if anyone cares. That speaker that the microphone is on, the microphone is an SM57 on a Celestian greenback, and it sounds like this. Middle position, so this is both pickups in case you don't know. Right, now the bridge pickup. would a Gibson SG be good for? To be honest, anyone, if you like the look of it, you'll love it. If you like a Les Paul, you'll probably love it. The reason it's handy to have one of these as well as a Les Paul, if you are a Les Paul player, because I think, for me, when I'm playing on the drive channel, I do most of my rhythm on the neck pickup, and it can sound quite muddy on a Les Paul. So I sort of set things in a way to brighten that up. With an SG, having that pickup further back helps with that problem a lot. I know everyone's just going to say, we'll go on the bridge pickup. Well, I don't. I play my rhythm on the neck pickup, and I switch to the bridge for lead stuff the majority of the time. So it's just the way I play. So this is really helpful for that sort of thing. It's a Gibson, so you know it's going to be good. It's just what a fantastically well designed guitar. I do sort of wish the body was a bit thicker. If the body was a bit thicker, it wouldn't be any less comfortable. You could maybe exaggerate these calves a bit more, but it would have a bit more weight and then it would never neck dive. Not that I see the neck dive as a problem. It's not awful. I mean, I know it is dropping as I do that, but this doesn't weigh much. It's not like my dad's Fender Jazz, which the neck, if you did that, it would smash a hole through your floor. This is just, it's not an offensive neck dive, but it's not ideal. With a bit more weight this side, it would deal with that. But like I said, you get a suede strap. It doesn't have to be expensive. This one was about 25 quid. I like Levy's straps. They're the sort of grippiest, and they do cost a bit more, sort of 40, 50, 60 quid to be honest. Like that one was a lot of money. But you can easily count it. If you play with a strap, look, there's no neck dive. No hands. If you're dancing, it slowly works its way down, but just do less dancing. And generally, if you've got a guitar, you're going to have one hand on it anyway, and that's going to stop it moving. Like I said, I'm going to do a video on trying to sort out the neck dive, but it's not the end of the world. I can't rate this enough. This is one of the best guitars. I don't know if I'm lucky, but it's one of the best guitars I've ever owned. Nice and light, although I've been lucky that my Les Paul's 8.5 pounds. No, I didn't deliberately buy, God, that's so much heavier than that. I didn't deliberately buy a light one, but that's really light for a Les Paul, and I've had two Les Pauls, and they've both been about that weight, almost exactly the same weight. So I can play for sort of 3 or 4 hours, which is normal for rehearsal, all standing up, with no problems. I can imagine a super heavy Les Paul. This isn't about Les Pauls, why am I talking about Les Pauls? They look really cool, they feel great, they sound fantastic. Just get one, it's as simple as that.